Ladies and gentlemen, now in today's video, we're going to be breaking down the full abilities for Dragon Man. Is he a dragon? Is he a man? He is a robot, guys. You should know that Dragon Man is an android. This much-loved Marvel character is arriving toward the end of August. And reading through the full abilities, I've gone through them a couple of times. He kind of gives me a strong vibe of being like this Mystic Hyperion character. He's got a lot of solid base utility, and the fact that Dragon Man, it wasn't a joke, he is actually a robot. So yeah, first off, the fact that he is a robot gives him full immunity to bleed, poison, and also armor shatter as well. So he actually can't be locked down by characters like Medusa or Vision Arcus being a Mystic champion. However, it looks like Void, Luke Cage, and a few other Science champions are going to be really, really good for fighting Dragon Man. And also, if he is ever under the effect of an armor break, he releases currents of mystical energy, dealing degeneration damage every half a second, but this is doubled against cosmic champions. So it doesn't seem like too much. However, I think against cosmic champions, especially with his fury, if that scales as well, this could work really nice against certain matchups and certain nodes there. However, one thing on his base is his offensive combat power rate is reduced by 35%. However, he makes up for that in a very, very big way. So at the start of the fight, he gains a power charge, generating 12% of a bar of power every second. So every, 8 seconds, you get a bar of power. And this power gain, I think, is very similar to Hyperion's rate, maybe actually slightly higher. It's like Vision Arcus were like 4 or 5 of his power gain buffs, and you can actually get 3 of these via special 3, and also on top of that, he is a Mystic champion, so you got Mystic Dispersion. So the power gain potential on Dragon Man kind of seems like it might be one of the highest in the game. However, unlike Hyperion, if you go to stun him, you remove the power charge. So if he doesn't have any power charges active, he creates one after 12 seconds, and it doesn't say that they have a duration here, but they might do. However, when defending, this duration is reduced by 4 seconds. So once you stun him on defense, then after 4 seconds he gets that power gain back. However, if you're fighting with a Science champion, upon receiving a non-damaging debuff, you pause the cooldown duration for 0.35 seconds. So if you're fighting with a Science champion like Luke Cage that is regular debuffing, then yeah, you're really going to slow this down. But I think the ideal strategy is probably use a character like Void or She-Hulk to kind of reverse this power charge, and then I think you're absolutely laughing there. So it seems pretty good. Now, the next thing that Dragon Man has is a passive called Cornered. So this isn't the cornered node that we're all used to in the game that increases power gain, you know, based on if the opponent is debuffed or not. It's a completely separate thing. So while the opponent's back is against the wall, they gain Cornered, and this is not affected by any ability accuracy modifications. So each hit that you deals an additional 821 physical damage, and this is based off 5-star rank 5 here, but then the damage is increased by 50% for each ineptitude or unique buff on the opponent, up to 150%. So I think if you got like 3 unique buffs on the opponent, or you know, ineptitudes as well, this goes up to, what is it, like 200 additional physical damage per hit. And I think as well there is a chance it might multiply with Fury, and he does have access to a Fury. So if all of that you know, scales up really, really well, that's going to be pretty crazy if you're playing very aggressively. There's some really solid damage potential there, but again, we're going to have to see how practical it is and whether or not it does scale. And also, opponents' defensive combat power rate is reduced by 70% while they're above 2 bars of power. So you can nuke in above 2 bars of power and not really have to worry about special 3 as much. It's still a little bit of a concern, but a 70% power rate reduction is really, really strong. So yeah, Cornered seems really, really good. And then we have, on opponent knockdown, gain Unblockable buff for 3 seconds, and this duration is paused during special attacks. So if you use a special attack and knock the opponent down, you gain Unblockable for 3 seconds. And also if you use a heavy attack and knock the opponent down, you also gain Unblockable for 3 seconds as well. So there's some really crazy stuff I think you can do with the power gain, like chaining on special attacks and also like heavy into special, just to make sure your special attacks always land. And then also after those special attacks, if you dash into the opponent and either A, get an intercept, or B, kind of attack into like a blocking opponent, then it can allow you to very aggressively chain on your combo there, which is very nice as well. Also, his heavy attacks on hit remove any incinerates on the opponent and deal a burst of just under 1,200 energy damage, but if 6 or more of these incinerates are removed, this damage is increased by 50%. Then next up, we got the special one, Blitzkrieg, which is going to inflict a slow for 8 seconds on the final hit there, so that counters evade and unstoppable. Very, very nice. And also, the first hit that contacts the opponent consumes 1 power charge to inflict an ineptitude debuff, reducing the potency of new fury, armor, precision, and cruelty buffs by 75% for 30 seconds. And you can stack, I think it's like 2 or 3 of these, and that's actually going to invert the effectiveness of fury, armor up, precision, and also cruelty buffs. So I think that's going to be alright in certain matchups. It's certainly going to take characters like the champion down a fair bit in terms of his damage output, and also maybe Medusa as well. It'd be great if this also reverted what is it? Friggin' power gain, man. That'd be really, really good. And it also doesn't revert regeneration. So, yeah, I think he's still got a way to inflict like lots of debuffs to actually kind of cancel out regeneration with a Despair Mastery. But if this also applied to power gain and regen, I think it'd be a lot better there. But it's kind of a new debuff, so I'm interested to see how it kind of turns out to be in terms of its effectiveness there. But he can't remove debuffs as a Mystic champion, but he can kind of counter and invert a lot of them, and also via his signature ability he gains even more utility to deal with buffs, and we'll talk about that in a second as well. Now, before we talk about the special 2, let's go on to the special 3, because I think the ideal rotation is get special 3 and then spam a couple of special 2s and then heavy attack for massive burst. So if you go to the special 3, it consumes all stacks of power charge and gives you a 4-second unstoppable buff for each one consumed. But also, while you have this buff, like any damage you take from hits, you regenerate 85% of it instantly. But after the special 3, you generate 3 stacks of power charge. So the what is it? 12% power gain becomes 36% of a bar of power every single second. Your power gain is going to be mad after the special 3. It's going to be crazy. And I don't think like Vision Arcus there's any diminishing returns on it. So I think you ideally want to go for the special 3 and then go up to the special 2. So on the special 2, all 3 hits of Dragon Man's Fire Breath inflict incinerates. You get 3 incinerates. It's not really like that much damage over 25 seconds. So this incinerate is meant to be consumed on the heavy hit, but it also does have the what is it, block proficiency reduction as well. But also on the special 2, you consume 1 power charge to generate a passive fury, increasing attack rating by 1,524 for 30 seconds. So I think the ideal loop is to like go special 3 and then just like loop around the special 2s. Even while you're firing off the special 2, you just consume 1 power charge, so you're still getting the power gain from the other 2, so you should get to another special 2 like really quickly. Then if you heavy attack after that, you can detonate all of those for the 50% increased damage. And then I think if you gain like 2 furies as well, that's like 3,000 more attack, so that damage loop might be really satisfying. And also on top of that, the what is it? The special 2 is going to be unblockable as well if you do it back to back and knock him down. So yeah, I think there's a lot of potential for this champion to be really crazy in terms of the amount of special attacks you can fire off, and the loop to be very satisfying. But I think he's got, you know, the damage potential on paper. We're just going to need to see in practicality whether or not he does live up to the hype and kind of brings the numbers to the table. But from what I can see so far, this champion is looking promising on paper, but it depends like if stuff does stack up and how it all like scales up as well. But yeah, I'm very interested to see the damage, man. But also on top of that stuff, he does have a signature ability called Tactical Programming. So when any non-science opponent has specific buffs active, gain a unique effect, and the potency is increased by 100%. So all of this stuff is doubled when fighting cosmic champions. So keep that in mind as well. So if the opponent regenerates, reduces the opponent's regenerate by 35%. So against cosmic, Cosmic, that is a 70% regen reduction. On top of that as well, there's also a 35% reduction on power gain. So against Cosmic champions, that's going to be 70%. Against Vision Arcus, also Hyperion. So again, very, very good there. And then we got, if the opponent gains a Fury, you gain an armor up buff. If the opponent gains an armor up buff, you gain a Fury. If the opponent has precision, you get critical resistance. And if the opponent has cruelty, you gain crit damage resistance. So really, I think the big things are like the armor up benefit, the additional Fury there, and also being able to reduce the opponent's regenerate and power gain by so much versus Cosmic champions. So I think that's going to be a really solid signature ability versus a lot of very annoying Cosmic matchups there. So yeah, I'm interested to see how it turns out, but it seems like a good addition to the champion. Hopefully it scales quite well on the early sig levels, but a lot of the signature abilities recently, you know, do require like the full 200 to get, you know, the most benefit out of it. So yeah, I'm curious to see like how it does scale there, but it seems like a pretty interesting sig ability. And then finally we have his synergies. So we've got Full Metal with Diablo. So Dragon Man Special 3 generates an additional stack of power charge, so you gain 4 power charges there. So yeah, that could be actually really, really huge for Dragon Man, because that power gain is going to be 48% of a bar of power every second. So yeah, that's gonna be nuts, mate. That's gonna be so stupid. I think if it, you know, works and scales the way I think it's gonna work and scale. So yeah, Diablo synergy seems really, really good for Dragon Man. And the benefit for Diablo is he instantly consumes concoctions after they've been brewed, and additionally, concoctions have a 50% chance to be recovered after brewing as well. So this could be really, really big for Diablo, man, because it kind of just speeds up his playstyle. You don't need to like, dash back and hold block in order to drink stuff, or use the special one there. And also the 50% chance to recover them seems really nice. It'd be better if it was 100% chance, man, just because I think his whole persistent charge system is just a little bit lame and there's not really much of a reason for it. But 50%, it's enough to kind of give him that sustainability that he needs throughout a quest there. So yeah, it doesn't look too bad on that one at all. And then we've got student loans for Mr. Fantastic. So ineptitude also reduces armor rating, attack rating, critical rating, and crit damage rating by 10%. So kind of buffs that one up even more. And then we got Mr. Fantastic. So each careful study passive on the opponent increases Mr. Fantastic's matching special attack damage by 50%. Mr. Fantastic, I don't think he's really known for like damage on the special attacks themselves. It's mainly like, use the special 3 and then spam heavy until another special 3. So yeah, I don't think this is going to be like too big for Mr. Fantastic, but I may be incorrect on that one. And then we have Invisible Woman. This one seems really interesting for her. So Dragon Man, while unstoppable and being attacked, Dragon Man reduces his opponent's offensive ability accuracy by 50%. This might be, I don't know if it's going to be any good for him actually, thinking about it. Yeah, while unstoppable and being attacked. So it's not like when you're attacking, because you could loop a special 3 just back to back if it was attacking. So yeah, I don't know about that one. However, for Invisible Woman, when becoming visible, retain 40% of vulnerabilities on the opponent. This one is big. This should just be on the base of Invisible Woman, man. But I'm happy that a synergy like this is coming, because that's the most annoying thing, is Invisible Woman. She's crazy damage ramp up, but it takes ages to get there. And if you become visible, you instantly like lose all of it, and it's just so frustrating. Whereas 40% is kind of like a nice cushion and safety net to fall back on, where she's still going to have some really good damage after she does become visible. So yeah, I'm excited to see that, man. I think that's a really, really good synergy for Invisible Woman. And then finally we got one with Tigra. So Dragon Man, while the opponent is cornered, their defensive combat power rate is reduced by 25% when struck with special attacks. So this means if he throws off a special attack as well, that's like, 95% power reduction. The opponent's going to gain like nothing. So yeah, this actually could be really, really big for Dragon Man if you're just throwing like special 2 wombo combos after a special 3 there. So yeah, I think that one might have some really good potential. And also Tigra, neutralized opponents have minus 100% auto block ability accuracy. I don't know if that's going to be too crazy for her. Maybe, I guess if you can get the neutralize going, and just constantly play around with it. You can get around maybe like Iron Man, Infinity War, Darkhawk in certain scenarios. But yeah, I'm not really too sure if that's going to do too much for Tigra, but we need to test that one out as well. And then finally, he's just got a crit node with Punisher 2099, and also Elsa Bloodstone as well. So overall with Dragon Man, we've got a new Mystic champion, lots of power gain with his Awakened ability. He can reduce the opponent's regen rate, also their power gain rate as well. Going to be very good, I assume, when awakened against Vision Arcus, and also Hyperion for that matter. Also has a Fury, lots of Incinerates, lots of Unblockable buffs as well, got double immunities. So yeah, I think he's got like a lot of solid potential to be a really, really good addition to Marvel Contest of Champions. Looking at everything, he doesn't seem like he's going to be a dud, but again, it's always a bit hard to tell from the Champions spotlights. I think we're going to have to wait till the CCP beta and some early access crystals before we can see this champion in action. But yeah, let me know your thoughts on Dragon Man in the comment section below, and you know, are you excited for this champion? Do you think he's going to be good? Do you think he's going to be a bit of a disappointment? But I've got some solid expectations that he's going to be a very hard-hitting, lots of special attacks, very satisfying champion to play. So yeah, I've got high hopes for Dragon Man, but hopefully we are not disappointed. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, hopefully you enjoyed today's breakdown of Dragon Man's early abilities, and if you did, if you do me a massive favour and smash that like button, that'd be greatly appreciated. But aside from that, thank you very much for watching, take care, and I hope that you have an absolutely fantastic day.